All right, I'm dealing with first ball ache on my new 701 here. This is a brand new 2023 model. It's March 25 now. This was a leftover. I got a heck of a good deal on it. I really like the bike so far. I've only ridden it about 30 miles or so. We're getting some crappy weather here right now, storms and tornado warnings and stuff, so didn't get much of a chance to ride yet, but I'm taking that opportunity to put some wrap around. I got some Acer Bees grips that I want to, or hand guards that I want to put on here because stock ones are just these flappy things that wouldn't do anything other than keep your hands clean, I guess. I don't know. Uh, Not very protective. So first problem I ran into, the way these things work, they sit on there like that. So the bolt that goes through the holds the clutch lever and also holds this on, and then there's the other side is just a tie wrap holding it. So you can see the way that's spaced out. I need about a 1/4 inch of spacer on top of the bolt, or you got to find one of these weird shoulder bolts that necks down to an M5 thread, which I'm gonna check around and see. Maybe like the SM model or something has a different size in there, and see if I can order one. For now, there's some washers in there just so I can work on the rest of this. I'll find some kind of spacer to fix that later. The big problem though is that the stock grips on these, they're nice OD lock-on grips, which I like. I usually buy OD grips for my stuff. In fact, I buy so many, I might have an extra set laying around that I was going to put on here. The set I have has the knockouts in the end. So you basically put a punch in there and pop it out, and they pop out real nice, just like this. This is the one I was going to use. You don't even get a sharp edge in there. You kind of just kick them out. Don't even have to cut the rubber. That's all done for you. This is the clutch side. Problem is, if you ever used these grips before, the OD grips come with a bunch of these cams, and well, there goes that one. You put one on top of here that matches what's on the bike, and they're fairly universal, so you can generally use those grips with about anything. Problem is, this is throttle by wire. I better not mess with that. Which works well. It's a nice feeling throttle. The big boy over there has the same setup. It works well. I've never had any trouble with it. But this is what the inside of your grips looks like. And even though this is an ODI grip, an OD grip, whatever you call them, they don't give you a cam that looks like this for the KTM and the Husqvarnas. Man, I'm dropping everything. I had considered 3D printing a cam. The one on the left there is the accessory, the aftermarket grip. I'd considered printing a throttle cam to go on there with a 3D printer. But if you look at where this sits, that's about where I'm going to even them up. So the one on the right is the factory grip, the one that will work. You can see how much extra space there would be under there if I put a cam on top of the one on the left. I really don't want that because now if I did that, everything would space out farther over here. The grip would be too long. It'd stick out about that much, so I'd have to move all this inwards. This would be a pain in the ass because the mirror you already can't see much out of. Off past your shoulder. The brake would have to move in. I just don't want to do that. So here's the clutch side. You can see it's nice and clean. These are not knockout grips, but I've done this before with other grips that didn't come with knockouts. There's a little trick you can use to get these to work. Anyway, if you buy, I looked up the manual for the factory KTM Husqvarna. I think they're rebranded Bark Busters hand guards. They tell you to cut the end of the grip off, and you can do that. That's kind of the old school way of doing this. But no matter how hard you try, you're gonna end up with kind of a ragged cut there. It's really hard to get a nice clean one. I like to have the inside of this gone, and then you still have a decent looking grip, and you lose this little, if you cut it off, you lose this little lip on the end, and I find that I like having that there. It just makes the grip a little more comfortable. I've got fairly big hands, and I can kind of find the end of it a little bit, if that makes sense. I just like having that there, so I don't want to cut it off. Here's what we're gonna do. You take a 3/8 socket and drop the phone and the socket in the grip. The socket extension is going to go in here. I haven't cut any of the rubber away on this side yet. I'm going to take a rubber mallet and I'm going to whack this a few times. I'm just going to hold the grip in my left hand, smack it with a mallet, and I'm describing that to you because I'm filming this on my phone and don't have a way to prop it up so you can see. But I'm going to whack this a couple times with the mallet, and it's going to break the plastic on the end of this, but not knock it out all the way, because it's not a knockout. So that's the first step. We'll do that first, and we'll come back and take a look at what we do next. All right, so you can see here, I've given this a couple of thwacks. The end of it's cracked a little bit. You can see it's standing up a little bit. You don't want to go too hard on this because you might break the throttle tube on the outside. You don't want to get a crack in there. But we can give this a couple of bangs on it. Just enough to get this plastic up here kind of fractured a little bit. Next step, I'm going to take a utility knife and I'm going to cut around the inside of this circle right here to cut the rubber out. And then we'll be able to just sort of peel out what's left with a pair of needle nose pliers. All right, so I've cut all the way around the edge. These have a hole right in the middle. So I can get the pliers in there, and you can see it's kind of going to just pull out. There we go. Hard to do this one-handed. But you can see everything's kind of just coming right out of there nice. So I'm going to dig the rest of this out, and then we should have a nice grip to work with. All right, there's what she looks like when we're done. Not great, but it's not the worst. Compared to, here's what a knockout grip looks like. It's a little cleaner. And you get this nice little hockey puck out of it right there, instead of a bunch of little chunks. But it worked. So we can pop that on, finish installing the grip.